Hi, and welcome to Beyond the Mist, the Mistworld podcast, where I discuss my planning for the episodes. This is regarding episode 3, where the party are start off in a library looking to do some research, but then end up getting a quest from the Fey Blue Sister. Now, right off the bat, I planned for the guys to go to the library, and it was more of a setup to introduce them to the fact that there'd been a robbery, that they were missing goods. So I didn't really give the players much details about what was happening at the library or what they were expected to do, because it was just more of a transition scene. Probably should have planned that better in retrospect and give them a person to meet, what they were looking for, things like that. But instead they stumble across the robbery and the investigation. I introduced Henry Goodbarrel's brother, Dimitri, the way he'd been described to me by Lockie as being a good brother, as being a hero, and somebody that Henry looked up to. I wanted to make them being a kind of good aligned villain. So somebody who's not evil, but is definitely not in line with the party's purposes. So when Henry explains that he wants to be a hero and is expecting to look up to his brother and set up with him, that gives him an opportunity to kind of reveal his own attitude towards Henry, which is not the same as the others. After that, so the players got to do a bit of RP in the kitchen, which was like what I was expecting. They then get to have a bit of a foot chase around the city as Mr. Whitber, as part of his backstory, runs to escape from his family. I just thought this would be a bit of fun. Didn't really have high expectations for it, but as always, the party manages to exceed anything I could have planned or thought of, and what was meant to be just a fairly basic foot chase turned into fairly epic. They all went on their own little ways, and everyone was a bit mystified as to Mr. Whitber's response and history, which of course gets revealed in a future episode. Now, what that meant though was that the players were then decided to split when it was time for me to introduce the Blue Sister. So I wanted to have this mysterious dreamlike encounter where the rules as we know them don't necessarily make sense. They're given drinks that come from the same location but are obviously very different from each other. I wanted to make it seem like anything could change at any time, and I wanted to let the players be able to introduce parts of their own backstory and their own history in that way as well. Now, one key part of this character and why I enjoy it personally is that it cannot lie. So while the players are potentially getting a lot of information, what ends up happening is that they have to be very careful about what I'm telling the players and how much I'm revealing. So what that ends up meaning is that I will personally script specific information, specific lines that I'll then say to the players, and then for pretty much everything else, I'll be as vague as possible and not give any concrete information. So ways to do that is to usually preface what I'm saying with phrases like, you could say that, you would think that, or I don't think you would say that. And you'll notice that once I give information, or after I give information about the dragon, those are the phrases that I start using in order to throw them off and let them think that they're getting confirmation, when in fact what I'm doing is just confirming their biases. This is a great way to get the party locked onto the dragon, but still be unaware of any ulterior motives past that point. There weren't many fights in this scene, no kind of bad guys to create aside from the personalities of Dimitri and the Blue Sister, but it was just still one of my favourite episodes, and having that Blue Fae character meet the players and cause a bit of havoc was always a bit of fun for me. Anyway, that's it for this week.